Welcome to Ridiculous Speculation. My name is Randall Cunningham, and I am the host of this show. And you can look to the left of me, and you will see the stars of this show, minus Raj, never on time, Mehta. He's going to hear it to the day he actually shows up on time. But welcome to Wednesday at 9 o'clock, National Signing Day, ridiculous speculation. And we're going to unpack a lot on the signing day. I don't know how prepped you guys are, but as a former employee of Rivals, one of my favorite days of the year. Shane, how much time do you spend on signing day?
Not as much as I should, probably. You can get intertwined with all these 4-star and 5-star and blah 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 blah. To me, it's like once you get on the field and actually play in the game, you're the next man up to me. I get you're highly recruited, but that doesn't mean anything. It's a different game than high school. So to me, I never get too wrapped up into it. I'd rather see it on the field. So,
there's some truth to that. And as someone who spent several years out evaluating players for one of the websites, I did discover that sometimes you're looking at a kid, Shane, and I would be looking at a kid and go, this kid's a 5-star. I don't even know if he could start on the high school football team I played on. Or you would go see a kid that was a 3-star and you'd go, that kid's a player. Matter of fact, we're going to talk about one of those 3-stars that I think is a superstar later on when we get to Tennessee. Robbie Davis, what was first of all, the fact that Tennessee went from 51st about 2 months ago to 15th, 13th, or 16th. Great job for Josh Apple today.
Yeah. Well, Randall, let me ask you a question real quick because you just brought up a point that I don't know. I know, and I follow basketball recruiting a lot more. I follow football recruiting. And in basketball, so much of it is they're ranked partly on potential and their size and what they think they can become because they spend so little time in college. Is that the same in college in football recruiting, or is it pretty much what you do on the field?
Great question. Let's start there. Here was the criteria I was given as what a 5, 4, 3, and 2-star was. Let's start at 3. Now, you hear people say, well, he's a 3-star. He's no good, whatever. When you evaluated a 3-star, to earn 3 stars, you had to look at a kid and consider him a 2 or 3-year starter at the Power 5 level. So if you looked at somebody and you thought, that kid needs 2 years in a weight room and he could be a starter at Alabama, that was a 3-star athlete. Also, you had to have a qualification of a Power 5 offer to be a 3-star. If you looked at a kid and he only had Marshall, South Alabama, the most you could give him is a 3-star. More than likely, they were going to group him as a 2-star. A 4-star was called an instant impact player. Walks on campus, can play special teams, NFL quality, potential to be an impact player day he walks on campus. 5-star was a kid, regardless where he went, he was a day 1 starter. So if you saw a 5-star athlete, you got to think, you could, in your mind, you had to be able to project that kid and say, he could go, and a lot of times what I used, Robbie, wasn't the elite program, but I would use a good program. I don't know why I started using South Carolina, but South Carolina was one of my go-tos. If I looked at a kid and said he could start at South Carolina tomorrow, that was a 5-star athlete to me.
Yeah. Well, you kind of have to pick a program like that because, Najee Harris is starting in the NFL and what he played, 6 games, 8 games at Alabama. Once you start stacking them up, you can be a 5-star you can start almost anywhere, but where you go, it's just not feasible. But to answer your question, Randall, so I heard a statistic that of all the teams that made the playoffs, I think it was either that Michigan State team or that Washington team. One of those teams, and now Cincinnati are the only two teams of the entire playoff field that have not averaged a top 10 recruiting class over that 4-year window. So there is some merit to these recruiting rankings, and if you're not in there, it takes a magical season to get there, as opposed to, hey, I can lose a game and build my way back in.
So that's a great point. At one point, and this was probably in the middle of Alabama still dominating, but there was a run for about 8 years that it was either Alabama or LSU or I think Ohio State won one in there, that if you wasn't class 1, 2, or 3, you didn't win a national championship on the 4-year average. So I think it does matter. I do think there's some coaches that can coach above that ability. A quick story before we'll look at some top 25 classes. I think there's some winners and losers there. A quick story. I got 2 stories I want to share. Both players ended up in the NFL, and they were players that I saw as sophomores and juniors. One is a sophomore, one is a junior. I wrote, and I still have it around here somewhere, about this future superstar NFL player, huge college player. Running back wasn't his future, but he was an all-pro strong safety. Would you all like to know who I wrote that about?
Eric Berry?
No.
Good guess.
That would have been I would have looked smart.
Yeah, that's a good guess.
I wrote that about,
yeah, I don't know.
Go ahead, Shane.
No clue.
I wrote that about Carnell Cadillac Williams. When I saw him play in high school, I thought he was the most dominant defensive player I'd ever seen. And to this day, I still think if I listed a defensive player, he would be my number one. Of course, went on to be an All-SEC Heisman finalist, and before injuries, a 1,000-yard rusher in the NFL. Probably the highest ranked player I ever got the ability to rate was a quarterback that I instantly said he was Drew Bledsoe. He was going to be a Pro Bowler. He was an impact player, and Tennessee had in their pipeline probably the best high school player I'd seen in the last 10 years. I wrote that about Mr. Trevor Lawrence before he realized Tennessee was a trash mine, and I did instantly gave him 5 stars. When I went down there that night to Cartersville, his family, I wore a Tennessee hat. His family was like, "We can't wait to get to Knoxville. We can't wait to be in Knoxville. Trevor loves Tennessee. Trevor bleeds Peyton Manning." It's all about when a kid's 16 years old, what you think may happen may not be what happens. You have all those stories about kids that grow up as a fan of one team, ends up somewhere else. Have you ever heard a story that just of recruiting that caught your eye, Robbie or Shane?
No, I mean, I like I said, I've never followed it that I mean, I know there's been who's the guy that Tennessee lost to Ohio State that Butch Jones didn't even talk to? The guy from North Georgia.
Basketball?
No. Well, Pearl lost him. But there was,
the guy that plays in the NFL now is from Heritage High School. Oh, what was his name?
Was it Cade Mays?
No, it wasn't Mays. Not Von Miller. Von Bell.
Von Bell.
Yes.
Von Bell. Yeah.
Yeah. He was from North Georgia.
Yes.
Of Tennessee, and then Jones got the job and just stopped talking to him. Like, what?
He was so committed to Tennessee, Jones said he didn't have to waste his time on him. He ended up signing with Ohio State, and he's still making a check in the NFL.
Yeah.
One of the best ones I ever heard was the coaches slept at Bo Jackson's house in his bedroom with him to keep the Alabama coaches from getting in his window in the middle of the night before he signed at Auburn. So
I think I want to say before Bobby Bowden passed. I think he said his biggest heartbreak was when Emmitt Smith went to Florida.
Yeah, I think so. So let's get into this. We got plenty to get rid of. It's not the whole show tonight, but I want to go through the top 25 and let's score these classes win or fail based on the program. Any comments you might have about certain players, please take a chance. But let's start at 25. And I rated this a fail with Oklahoma State coming in at 25, almost making the playoffs. They come in barely cracking the 25th mark. What would you guys say about Oklahoma State?
Well, so I'm looking at Oklahoma State in their new home, right? So this is the number one class in the new Big 12.
You're right.
Can they Gonzaga it in the football realm? So are they still holding at bay Iowa State, Baylor, West Virginia, Cincinnati, BYU, who are going to be their new competitors? So you're looking from 4 years from now, 2 years from now, 3, whatever they work out with this contract with ESPN, Texas, Oklahoma. So while it's not ideal for Oklahoma State, in the future, they're still recruiting better than their new competitors will be.
A very good point. I didn't think about that. Shane, any comment on that?
No, I mean that's well said.
That was amazing from Robbie.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not as drunk this week.
Yeah, I can't top that one.
Number 24, Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss belies itself because I think Lane Kiffin is making a living in the portal right now. So when you see him with a 24th class, that doesn't mean his class is going to be 24 by the time he gets out of the portal. Lane Kiffin, that program, though, got to be trending up even with the 24th class.
Yes. So here's where I think, when the 4 and 5 star, when you start getting 4 and 5 stars and then, the 3 stars, which the 3 stars are kind of the meat of the
heart and soul of college football
of the class, right? So those are the guys that come in, like you said, maybe a year or two could play special teams, but then all of a sudden, just catapult into, NFL prospect. But that's how college football is built. So I don't necessarily take, whether you got 2 5-star recruits versus, 18 3-star guys, necessarily a big jump in, relativity to the recruiting aspect. So I really think with like you said, with the portal aspect of things now, this is a whole new world, guys. Like we have not seen this world yet. So we don't know what the NLIs are going to do. Kids are coming out of high school early. We've got people transferring, as the wind blows right now to other schools. So I think a lot of coaches are going to have to start playing the game a little different with a couple extra scholarships and openings for transfer guys, people coming up early, things of that nature. So I don't know. I think Kiffin's going to be fine. He's always done well. But this is a whole new ball game that we are not aware of.
Robbie, excellent point. Class 23 is South Carolina. What doesn't come into count in Class 23 South Carolina, Spencer Rattler and Oklahoma, I can't remember his name, star tight end, both are in that class, but they don't get ready. For South Carolina, you get a quarterback like Spencer Rattler, a kid that they could never touch in the normal recording. That's a win, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. Look, if I'm, yes, it is for South Carolina. But going back to the Ole Miss question, if I'm Ole Miss, I'm uneasy right now because I have all the momentum, just won 10 games for the first time. I'm the it school in the state. LSU just fired their coach, was unstable in recruiting, and Mississippi State's out recruiting me. with Mike Leach, who's a great coach, but not a great recruiter. Never been a great recruiter. That to me, I'm like, what's going on here? Why is this? And yeah, it may be that Lane is counting transfer portal players because yes, you guys are right. It's a scholarship count number, and you don't. And that's what's weird is like you're like, hey, I may have 50 open. I may have 20 open. I don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. Who am I recruiting from other teams? I'm curious, knowing Lane, if he has spent more time recruiting in the transfer portal than he has recruiting from high school.
I would think so.
I think so too. I think Lane would want proven commodities over.
Yeah.
And I think Lane is not long for Ole Miss. I mean, not that he's leaving tomorrow, but his point is not to build a long-term program. I think Lane still uses Ole Miss as a stepping stone. The way you do that is JUCO and transfer portal.
But where is there left to step is my thing. All these college coaches are getting locked up for a long term.
Well, and that's a great point too. You know, look at what we just went through right here with all the major job openings at these high caliber schools with paying big money. And if Kiffin wasn't a part of that one, this carousel, like surely he could have landed at Oregon or, you know.
I mean, unless you're waiting for the biggest shoe of them all to fall and Saban to retire.
Yeah, but
is Alabama going like?
Would they go Lane Kiffin though?
He didn't leave on good terms. I mean, he doesn't leave anywhere on good terms.
No, he burns bridges as he's you know, leaving the city.
But really though, all the premier jobs just locked in coaches for a hell of a long time for a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah, I just don't see if he's not rebuilding for the next 4 years here. I don't see him.
Yeah, I don't know where it's a.
There's no stepping up.
Yeah. I mean, look at Luke Fickell at Cincinnati. Great year, great coach. He could win the championship this year, and it's like, well, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah. Again, he could be waiting on, you know, the whole conspiracy about Day going to Chicago BS. Which, if that happens, I would take Fickell, but it's not going to happen. So, but yeah, I mean, they're stuck in positions, and especially Kiffin, like. If he wasn't going to make a move now this year with so many openings on larger settings, I don't see him. I don't see him leaving for at least 4 years.
If LSU didn't go after him, and there was no talks.
And now let's not knock Ole Miss too. Like Ole Miss is not a bad job.
No, I mean, it's an excellent job.
It's an excellent job, and if they can win, and you know, who knows? Maybe he brings them back up. Maybe they get in the playoffs or something.
Maybe one of the best jobs for a single young male.
Hey, the Grove is amazing. I love the Grove.
Do we call Ole Miss, do we call it a top 25 job? Is it?
What? Ole Miss?
Yes.
I would say it's top 25 job. Yeah.
I mean, I think any SEC job outside of Vandy, maybe Kentucky, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Mizzou. I think all of those. South Carolina, maybe.
Let's move on a little bit. Mississippi State, who we've already discussed, at 22nd. The best class Mike Leach has ever signed at 22nd. Michigan State at 21. I got to see that as a fail, Big Ten guy. You're super hot. You just paid $95 million. You got the 21st class.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what's going on behind the scenes here? Like, why are you ranked 21? Are you trying to pull the transfer portal thing? I guess that's our, fail safe right now.
Now they were, to their credit, transfer portal U last year.
They were. And maybe they are again. Who knows?
Yeah.
Mel Tucker, he's a great coach. Don't get me wrong. What he's done in that program this year, he's brought them back. They're great.
5th in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
But their recruiting class is subpar for sure, especially to pay a guy $95 million.
One spot in front of them at 20, who got a Tennessee flip today from Brady Floyd, a tight end out of Chicago or out of Cincinnati, going 2-10 in the Big Ten this year, is Indiana, a spot in front of Michigan State. Huge win for Indiana after going 2-10 to be class 20, wouldn't you say, Robbie? The former IU student.
Oh, for Indiana to finish fourth in the Big Ten in football recruiting, that's a huge win. I mean, so Allen's now building a program. Yeah, they took a down year. The good thing about Indiana, they're not going to panic and fire him. You know, he had a good year. He had a bad year. Get this recruiting class in. Let's build a program, and you're going to do it almost the Michigan State way that D'Antonio brought in and Tucker completed. The problem with Tucker now, though, you're getting paid $9.5 million a year. Can you have 2 down years? I mean, I guess you can because your contract's locked in, but 2 down years, like with that kind of money comes expectations. And to finish 5th in the Big Ten in recruiting, after
Not good.
After the end of the season, after you sign that contract, it's a bad look.
No, and we're going to talk about a couple of teams in front of them. The number 2 belies this. It is not only, I believe some teams, they're still a February signing period. We talk about LSU especially. I got a couple of points to make about them. But Michigan State signed 22 players to finish 21st. LSU, by example, signed 13 players and finished 18th. So it's not like they were going to have a bunch of scholarships left over to go to the portal with. They signed a lot of kids. Arkansas, 21 signees, 5 stars, 14 3 stars, finishes 19th. Sam Pittman's really getting that program back to work. Arkansas should be a top 20 program, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the facilities, they've got the money, they've got the fan base. The problem they have is not a lot of in-state talent in the high school level.
No.
And it's out there. And it's not the sexiest place to want to go to school or want to live if you're a 18 to 21-year-old. Because, I mean, let's face it, athletes live a different life than normal college students. Like, usually you say college campuses or college campuses are all going to be fun, even no matter if they're out in the middle of nowhere, i.e. Auburn or i.e. Iowa State or Iowa. But for athletes, they're on regimented basis. The weather sucks. It's just not an ideal place. So Sam Pittman's doing an A-plus job, in my opinion.
One of the best things for Sam Pittman's tenure at Arkansas is Tennessee has been unable to go to Memphis and pull kids. If you give Arkansas a fair shot at Memphis, it helps their program. Because I think I've read 2.5 hours closer to Arkansas's campus than it is UT's campus from Memphis.
Memphis is the holy grail for UT in football, basketball, but like it's in state, but it's so far. It's so much closer to 6 schools in the SEC than it is to Knoxville. Like
much
it's
closer to Alabama.
It's close,
right?
Yeah, like it's just
Alabama,
so hard to get them.
Yeah.
Vandy, Alabama, Auburn, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Missouri.
Just to make a quick statement, Raj, our 4th comrade, is late for his late meeting, which was 8:15, he said, and it is now 8:26. So just to put that on record.
Okay,
for
Raj. The next 2 are my biggest winner and loser of the day. And you got to go through it. Well, I won't call him my biggest winner. My incomplete award goes to LSU. Here's why LSU gets it incomplete. They signed 13 kids, 2 5-stars, 4 4-stars, 7 3-stars. But there is a ton of talent in the state of LSU or state of Louisiana that did not sign. And it's a group of kids, 5, 6, really high-rated kids. And the story that's breaking over the last few hours is they're waiting to see what staff Brian Kelly puts together before signing with LSU. So while LSU sets at 18, nobody has the ability to go from 18 to 5th like LSU does rarely right now. Robbie, you've said it. The state of Louisiana is stacked with football players.
Best job in college football. Yeah, I mean, this is a coming off a horrible season, a coaching change, and they're light, but they are loaded, and with more to come. Like, yeah, just wait. People are holding out to see what they do. I wouldn't be surprised if they jump into the top 7, 8 in February.
Absolutely not. Rod, welcome aboard, Mr. Mehta.
It's good to be here finally.
We're rating some of the classes where they finish in the top 25 for recruiting, and if it's a win or if it's a lose for them. As Robbie just said, LSU, even though they finished 18th, the potential to finish up the year at 7 or 8 is definitely there. Biggest loser of the day to me had the number one player in the nation committed, had a top 75 lineman committed. Both, one flips to Jackson State, the other one to Tennessee. Florida State, come on, he's got to be in trouble. You don't lose the number one recruit in America to Deion Sanders and Jackson State, do you, Robbie?
So this was whoa. When I started getting notifications of this, like, what is this real? So I'll give you. So Florida State's my number 2 loser of the day. But yeah, that was just I don't know if they left their foot off the gas or what. But yeah, to lose it to Jackson State, and I know Barstool had some stuff to say about that with the $1.5 million reported deal. So I don't know if the kid's going, hey, I'll be there for a year. Maybe I don't know what people's finances are. Hey, if you gave me $1.5 million, 18 years old, I'll go. I'll play for whoever. But I don't know if he's a one and done there and then transferred back. But because rumor was FSU gave Mike Norvell the contract extension to sign this class they thought they had, and then for it to disappear or get crushed like this, and a public embarrassment. Firing Mike Norvell on Twitter was trending like it was bad for them. So, but they're my second biggest loser. I'll get to my first biggest loser. Hopefully, we'll talk about them next.
It was right there for them to be a top 6 program. They were trending with the Texas A&M, the Alabama, Georgia. Florida State, Raj, is it a program that can rise above this, or are they doomed for a decade of mediocrity similar to Tennessee went through?
I mean, just like Tennessee and USC, they've been in that sub-mediocrity phase. They keep trying out new coaches, and it doesn't seem like Norvell is the guy either. Travis Hunter, he's 6'1", 165. He's smallish, no doubt. And I hate to be that guy, but I'm sure there's some money involved. So he is going to be people call him a generational corner. He wanted to learn from the best, and that's prime time. But to answer your overall question, yeah, I think it's going to take a Lincoln Riley type hire, a coach from a super successful program to get them back, not a Memphis or like a Power 5 type thing.
Before we move on.
Ah, crap. Eli Ricks is going to Alabama. Son of a goat. SC really wanted him. Modern day guy. Ah, crap.
So SC only signed 7 players today. Is that what you expected? Or were you thinking they had a chance to? I mean, I know they went in 50-50 battles, and it seems like they won a couple today, but they probably lost more than they won. Lincoln Riley was only there a few weeks, though.
Well, Rick's kind of hurts because for 2 years, his safety mate was Domani Jackson, who's just unbelievable. Domani is considered a USC lean. He's going to announce in 2 days. But he got arguably the best player in Nevada to switch. He got Raleek Brown, who's unbelievable, a running back that was going to Oklahoma, a 5-star. They got positions of need. I think they're going to go, it's early signing day. I think they're going to go hard towards the end, and there's a lot of guys that they're involved with. The Crystal Balls, like from Rivals 247, have a lot of good players. So I think they'll end up in the top 10, top 15. But
to your point, only 75%, probably 70 or 75% of kids signed today. There's still a lot of good football players out there. Not the 5-stars, but there are a lot of 3 and 4 stars that wait till after this period to see who's got scholarships to offer.
I mean, there still are 5-stars out there as well. I don't know about this early signing day. It takes all the fun out of freaking out on that Wednesday in February.
We're going to let Shane. Shane, I kind of skipped you for that one, but I wanted you to start, Shane, and then I think this is the one Robbie was waiting for. For the first time in a long time, and they did only sign 13 kids, it doesn't seem like Clemson just said, I want you, and you. 2 years ago, Clemson turned a 5-star away because they offered 2 defensive ends and said the first one to commit gets the scholarship. Unheard of. Clemson turns away a 5-star. Is Clemson a loser today because they didn't win a lot of 50-50 battles?
Yeah, they were my biggest loser today for sure. They're on a free fall spiral down right now. They just lost Red Bulls, obviously, to Oklahoma. Dabo is I've never seen him like this within this last year, coaching wise, and can't really get it together. And the recruits are seeing this, I guess. Maybe they're not going out hard enough. I don't know. It was definitely the biggest loser. I couldn't believe that they were ranked as low as they are. What are they, 16th? I mean,
Yes.
Usually they should be within the top 5, top 8. So especially the last 3 to 4 years. So baffles me. Don't know what's going on there. I think Dabo's days are numbered.
All right, Robbie Davis. Was this the team you were waiting on?
Yeah, this was the biggest loser of the day for me, which is, I mean, you say we're in the top 16, first or second in the ACC. What's there to complain about? What's to complain about is just a year or two ago, you had Clemson being the young, hip program versus Alabama's the strict, regimented, no fun program. Well, Clemson just all of a sudden lost. It was like someone pulled their cool card at the door. They just fell off, and nobody wants to be there anymore. And like Dabo's going on air complaining about losing assistants and transfer portal and all the name, image, and likeness. Man, you are do not be a dinosaur. You may not like it, but there's no putting the toothpaste back in that tube, buddy. You got to adapt. And he sounds like somebody who not only is not going to adapt, but doesn't want to adapt. And if I'm recruiting against Clemson, I use that sound bites. Do you want to go play for a coach that doesn't want you to get paid? I mean, that's like saying, yeah, I mean, hey, do you want to go work for someone that's going to pay you less or worse than that, doesn't want you to get paid?
No, look, life's hard. You got to adapt. Like everyone's everyone's playing in the same playing field right now.
Yeah.
So everyone's dealing with transfer portal, blah, blah, blah. Don't give me excuses. Don't whine and complain. And, everyone's losing people left and right, whether it be coaches, players, whatever. Like you said, adapt, make it happen. If you can't, there's the door. Let's go.
Yeah. I don't know if his days are numbered, but I will say he probably raised some administrators' eyebrows with some comments he's made.
I mean, what do you think they give him? 2 years tops?
So, and I don't know if he's an NFL guy. I don't know if NFL even wants him. Like, I don't know what he does. Like, I don't know what his deal is. I don't know.
So, 100%. I don't know where he ends up, but I'll put it this way. For the first time in the last decade, I saw a crack in Clemson. And let's see how he fixes it. And I think publicly it was a black eye to Dabo, exactly what you said. We all live in a new world. Do you remember that movie Draft Day where Kevin Costner offers the trade and then he answers the phone back and says, that was 30 seconds ago. That's a whole new world.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world, Dabo, in college football.
Realistic.
Raj, Pac-12, huge winner today. Someone I've been waiting to recruit at this level. David Shaw and Stanford lands a top 15 class. Huge win today for Stanford.
Yeah, and quick note, when I said SC was going to finish top 15, I was thinking the 23 class, which they're already loading up, but you're right. The timing of Lincoln Riley was surprising because, yeah, he had 2 weeks and pretty much everyone's gone. Stanford gets a particular type of kid. Usually they're cerebral. I don't want to stereotype anyone or presume that people that don't go to Stanford are not smart. But, yeah, it's interesting that Shaw was able to do very well, including a guy that USC really wanted, David Bailey, the linebacker out of Mater Dei. Mater Dei is the number one team in the country. They're a powerhouse. We're getting some more guys to go to SC, but still, these guys are going to other, Alabama and whatnot. Can't blame them there. But Bailey is a stud, and he signed today. I know Ernest Cooper did huge. Well, actually, he needs to put on weight. I'm looking right now. Whatever he did, it's working this year. That's a big class. I know they needed a lot of kids. How many kids is that?
21.
21. Yeah, that's
7.
a lot of kids.
And Oregon's the second Pac-12 team with 12. That's a big gap.
Yeah,
7
SC's
four
roster's in trouble. SC needs depth, and we are going to be scouring the transfer portal. But yeah, it's that's interesting. 21-12. I didn't realize that. But maybe it's one of those years. I don't know.
I did read up on the transfer portal rules and just get your comments quickly. Tennessee lost 30 to the transfer portal last year. They can only bring in 7. You can basically shift 7 roster spots every year in the transfer portal. So it's not like you can go unlimited and pull kids in. You have to have available scholarships, and you can basically replace 7 kids a year. So you can't go get 24 out of this transfer portal.
Plus kids that transfer, right? Because Lincoln Riley has told a lot of players basically, you're not playing here. And thank God he did. And so there's about 8 or 9 guys that have left that are in the portal. So is it a 7 max? Because
you get 25 and 7.
Well, how can a team like Tennessee theoretically fill their roster then?
Super seniors. Now, understand that's portal transfers. There's still graduate transfers and just standard transfers. Like Joe Milton right now can't, and this was what brought this up. Joe Milton cannot enter the portal again and just go somewhere else. If Joe Milton leaves again, Tennessee,
he goes to Canada. I'm just kidding.
He has to go as a regular transfer and all that comes with that. Academics, set out a year, unless you're a graduate. And like Joe Milton may have come to Tennessee as a graduate transfer. If he did, he can hit the portal tomorrow. No big deal. But there's some rules to the portal I didn't realize. Robbie, Auburn really hits it hard today, and they went for JUCOs. They went for older kids. Brian Harbison feels some pressure to win now, does he not, at Auburn?
Yeah, and I think this bowl game's going to be really big for them. to get some momentum going to the next season. But it seems like this is what Auburn really does every year. There's a lot of late guys that are on the fence, and for whatever reason, they feel more comfortable at Auburn. I don't know if it's because they're a lot of small town guys and they just like that atmosphere better. But it just seems like every single year Auburn gets a late day signing day push.
One thing you will notice too, and we don't talk a lot about this. Let me get back to y'all. If people would quit texting me, you can get a prep school year if you want it out of high school. Auburn signed 3 kids from prep school, which means they graduated high school a year ago, went somewhere else, improved their stock, then signed with Auburn, and they also signed a JUCO player. So they basically signed 3 19 or 20-year-olds and 1 20, 21-year-old. So I do agree with you. Those kids are more likely to play faster. And Auburn always comes up with Georgia military kids, kids that nobody else seems to have a shot at.
You said it right there real quick. That's the essence of capping the transfer portal, because it was drastically affecting high school kids, and they couldn't go where they wanted to go, and people didn't have roster spots. So, I definitely agree with the cap. There's no question. But where there's a will, there's a way.
Shane, before we get off of Auburn, let's talk about overall a little bit about Auburn's program here. Raj, I want your comments too. Robbie and I are both SEC guys, and I consider Auburn one of the top programs in the SEC. I think when those programs are lining up, I think Auburn, Florida, over the last 25 years are probably the Alabama, Florida, Georgia over the last 25 years are probably, and throw LSU in there. But then in that mid-range, that 5th, 6th range, and I'm not talking about the last 10 years where Tennessee struggled, it would be Auburn, Tennessee, programs like that. Do other
traditionally?
Do other programs see Auburn that way, or do they see them different?
I don't think so. So you bring Alabama into the play, right? They're the bar at the top, and you relate teams like Auburn, like Tennessee, to those teams regardless of season.
Michigan State from the Big Ten, I think, is kind of the same.
Michigan State is, their little brother hanging on. They hang around and come in and out here and there. Obviously Michigan has been dominant over Michigan State for a longer period of time, but Michigan State, yes, they've been one of those teams. But you look at, the Iron Bowl. That's one of the greatest rivalry, games in history too. So it's so hard to discount them at all when it comes to that. So.
Late, Mr. Raj, what do you think about Auburn's program?
They seem like an every 3-4 years type of program that they're good. I don't think they're as dominant as we're not even talking about Alabama. Traditionally there are players that, I recall, obviously Bo and some others, but I don't see them as, this is just my opinion, my perspective, as a power team traditionally. Those are my thoughts. Versus a Florida or even a Tennessee, more rich traditions, in my opinion.
All right. Question. Perfect timing, Arden. Who had the biggest surprise teams of the day? At number 13 is the University of Tennessee, a program that's still under heavy NCAA scrutiny, a program that at the beginning of the season, Robbie, you're a UT graduate. When I said we're going to win 6 games, your reaction was what?
There's no way in hell.
There's no way in hell that we're going to win 6 games. A program that went through, if you were a senior at Tennessee this year, you played for 4 different head coaches. You were recruited by Butch Jones, played 2 years for Jeremy Pruitt, and played your 4th year under Josh Heupel. Tennessee today flips Tyree West from Georgia, Florida. He was a Georgia commit, but everybody thought he was going to flip to Florida State. They flipped a running back, Justin Williams, at the last minute. They signed bodies. They signed good bodies for a program that went 7-5, who's under NCAA investigation heavily. Today's got to be a win, Robbie.
Oh, today's a win. We're asking was the question who's the biggest surprise or who's the biggest win? Were we answering Arden's question?
Because I consider Tennessee the biggest surprise. We're talking about Tennessee.
Okay, so just Tennessee, win or lose?
Yeah, no, Tennessee's class. Just go back to the normal.
Oh, okay. Oh, Tennessee's class. Yes, this is a win. This is absolutely. So, questions. Heupel's hired. Can he coach in the SEC? I think he's proven that he can. Now in his first year recruiting, the SEC is brutal. They finished 13th in the nation and 6th in the SEC. That's brutal. But he's still, if he can take that team and win 7 games, give him talent, then I think. This is, and I've been down this road over and over and over again.
Nothing more.
But I do think the future is bright for the Vols.
How many 5-stars did Tennessee get today?
None.
0. 7 4-stars, 13 3-stars.
Exactly.
But this is a team that couldn't sign anybody a year ago. So.
Oh no, Heupel's amazing. He won with that team. They were, Hendon Hooker. The only question I have with the guy is how did Joe Milton win the opening day job? Because Hooker looks like an NFL prospect down the line. He's an amazing coach. I would have gone with Auburn, like we talked before. They were flipping dudes from Alabama, LSU. They got the number 1 JUCO. That's pretty impressive. They got a very good quarterback.
We're not going the biggest
Bo
surprise. We're talking about UT's class right now.
Why? I thought Randall had said
question.
he was talking about essentially the biggest surprise today.
Surprise.
Yeah, Rob, you're a freaking attorney. Pay attention.
You said we're talking about Tennessee. Oh well,
You're out of order.
Well, I'll tell you. I'll go back to my biggest
holding you in contempt.
Yeah.
No, the dude can coach. He can coach on the moon. I can't believe what he did with all those guys gone. There's no doubt about it. And if he wasn't fired a few years ago from Oklahoma, I thought he might be one of the guys going there. And that's going to be the question, because it's obvious he is a great coach. He's young, just like Dan Lanning that, went to Oregon. Somebody's going to poach him. Or, is Tennessee going to win enough that their status and they can restore that tradition that they had where they are a top 3 job, top 5 job, because a lot of guys are vaulting away from them.
All right, Robbie.
Well, not a lot, but a few.
Who was your biggest surprise? Then Shane will come up to you. I confused the situation because I thought Tennessee was my biggest surprise. Go ahead, Robbie.
No, my biggest surprise was Missouri. To even see them in the top 40, much less number 12, with 1 5-star, 7 4-stars, and 8 3-stars. And I know this was a weird year. Missouri was loaded with talent, like the state of Missouri, but they still keep everyone in-house and sign those players. I'm really impressed. And I'm not even sure I even know who the coach of Missouri is.
Missouri is going to be brought up. I love this comment. Again, a couple Rich here. I would take 23 stars over 1 or 2 5-stars. I think that's where Tennessee's at. It's depth and body right now.
And build to your strength.
Let me guess, at Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, we talked about
what's
that
the point
a
of
little
depth if
earlier,
the
too.
players suck? You can always
All right.
find depth, but
Hold
you
on
need
just a
quality
second.
depth.
Shane's biggest surprise of the day?
My biggest surprise is Kentucky. How the hell are they ahead of Tennessee or Missouri for that fact? 1 5-star, 8 4-stars, and 10 3-stars. 20 commits. It's
Hell of a job.
like hell
This
of a
ain't
job.
basketball. Yeah.
Hell of a job. That's a basketball school, right? But they're out recruiting these big time SEC schools. So let's go. What's going on, Kentucky?
You guys just brought us through the top 10. Missouri at 12, Kentucky at 11. Recap a little bit. Good question here. Is Mel Tucker the best portal? Is Mel Tucker the best portal guy? Have we established that so far?
Well, it's been 1 year, so I mean, we'll see.
I mean, it's really hard to tell right now.
Yeah. I mean, that was like Randall's the best looking guy on here when he's on by himself.
That's true. Another
Well done.
question. Was Spencer Rattler to the game clock the biggest portal transfer to this date?
By name,
Yeah,
sure,
name.
everyone's heard of him. I think he showed his clear limitations, and he is a midget.
I think
Didn't
we
somebody
saw
else go to
people.
South Carolina also? Like, it's not a guarantee that he's going to win the job. I can't recall who. Didn't another quarterback transfer there?
I don't
Or am
know
I
that.
tripping?
No, that was what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, didn't they have
Well, I
a
remember-
grad transfer
Yeah,
play this
they
year?
did.
Like
They
a
did.
grad
Two
assistant
of
or
them.
something like that?
And Bentley from from Utah. That's terrible.
Yeah.
I could have sworn, but yeah, I mean, it looks like he's going to play, and
Let's get through
obviously not
top
the
10
same
real
pressure.
fast. Let's get to the top 10 real fast. Start with number 10, which I find
Fuck, I should've-
one of the more shocking stories. Oklahoma hung on to a top 10 class, staying at number 10. Robbie, if you're Dan Lanning, are you not just happy? I mean, not Dan
Venables.
Venables. Are you not thrilled to have a top 10 class?
Oh, good God, yeah. I was expecting them to fall apart like Oregon fell apart. Yes, I am. I'd be thrilled if I was walking into that situation, the top 10 class with the talent they still have.
And the option of transfer portal and everything else. Like, I mean, that's a primo situation to walk into for Vegetables. Vegetables.
George,
What do you
I know
have, 1
love the
week?
Lincoln-
Vegetables?
I know you love the Lincoln
Yeah.
Riley hire, but I think Oklahoma kind of lands on their feet with Brent Venables, don't you?
I mean, he had a week or two, just like Lincoln Riley, a little bit longer. But yeah, I mean, it was a great hire, at least by name. The Clemson defense wasn't exactly very talented last year, but I mean, to keep those guys, they got a lot of defense this year, which is very surprising. Generally, it's all receivers and running backs at that place, but yeah, I mean, few corners, few defensive linemen. And that's because of Venables, I'm sure. They're not going to lose those guys. Kids want to play for him. He certainly is the most well-known defensive coordinator in college football. And, yeah, that was just a great hire.
All right, Shane, my Big Ten guy. Any comments on Oklahoma? But I want you to lead us off at number 9, too. So any comments on Oklahoma, and then go straight into that school up north?
No, I think it was, a great situation. Like I just interrupted everyone else and said earlier. That was a great situation to walk into, and I will not comment about the next one. So you can pass on me.
Robbie, what about Michigan at number 9, one of the harder teams in college football right now?
If I'm them, like I'm not thrilled. I'm not upset. I'm just kind of like, okay, we're in the top 10. We're in here. We're invited to the party. Surprised Penn State's ahead of them. Really surprised North Carolina's ahead of them, and Notre Dame. I thought they'd ride the momentum a little bit higher, but I mean, again, you can't complain about being in the top 10 at this point.
Yeah, nobody likes Harbaugh. Sorry, I'm going to comment real quick.
If
man.
I'm a white
coming back.
defensive lineman, that's where I'm going. That's like white DL University.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Shane.
Hey, if I can
No.
shoot like Steph Curry, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, you just got beat out by Notre Dame and North Carolina. Like, come on, bro. Like, what are you doing? Get out of here. That's all I gotta say.
Perfect lead in. North Carolina and the oldest football coach this side of Randall, Mac Brown, the Cookville native, finishes 7th. Win for North Carolina, but Robbie, they entered the year with Sam Howell, supposedly a first-round draft pick, top 10 team. They finished 6-6. Is this effect of Mac Brown or just North Carolina's loaded with football players?
Oh, well, if I can steal the most annoying thing that I hear from Tennessee basketball fans and apply it to North Carolina football, then I'm going to. Oh, yeah, he can recruit good talent, but can he win and when it counts? That's where North Carolina's sitting right now. But you know what? And just like a Tennessee basketball fan, North Carolina football should be like, you should be happy with talent as opposed to no talent. So be happy. Another good recruiting class coming in. Mac Brown is stacking the deck again, like we've been talking about, and you may get a breakthrough year.
One thing about North Carolina. Sorry, go ahead.
You got to remember Texas. He stacked talent too, and they got a championship. That one wasn't good enough for them. Then look what's happened since. So just like Texas needs to check themselves, Carolina, calm down, appreciate what you got.
Amen.
One thing about North Carolina and Mac Brown, this was a good year in the area for football players, and they dominated. I think of their 17, everyone was, except for 3 or 4, was from Virginia, was from North Carolina. Even if you want to throw in South Carolina, that's all around there in a circle, and they dominated at home. Whereas a lot of those kids normally would go to, Alabama for sake of argument. So that's huge. And if you control your hood, I mean, if SC can control their hood over the last 10 years, they would be the best team in the country. But we can't. So good for them. They own their hood, and they're doing something right.
Yep.
Shane, Notre Dame makes the controversial hire. Well, not controversial, but kind of take an assistant to keep the recruiting class together. They finished 7th and no defect.
No defect.
Great hire then if you're looking from a recruiting standpoint.
Absolutely. So he's one of those guys that reminds me of Randall. He's like a player's coach. Everybody wants to play hard for him. As soon as his name was announced, he won that locker room. Guys wanted to jump up and down for him, not Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's more of the button-up shirt, kind of guy, like straight to bit. This guy gets down and dirty. Like he'll get his hands dirty with you. He'll get in there and he'll, hit some people, trying showing plays or whatever. Just like Randall, like I'm saying, it makes a difference when you can actually get in with kids and make them believe and actually get down and dirty with them. So I think it was a great hire. Now, coaching ability, he's a great recruiter. We'll see how he does on the big stage. But all-star hire, I think that was great within. It was definitive. It was quick. There was no question.
It was cheap. It was cheaper. A lot cheaper than get one of those big name dudes come in from outside.
At that point, some of the big names were gone too. So, but to keep things intact, look where they ended up at number 7 in recruiting right now. So, I think they're going to be fine. I haven't heard a whole lot about Notre Dame transfer portal.
Yeah. Robbie, Raj, any follow up to Notre Dame there? Or do you want to move on to my least favorite class?
Well, I'll just say one. There's always worries when you ask lawyers, "Do you want to talk?" The answer is always yes. So I talked about Ole Miss having kind of that red flag that worries me. This is my second red flag of the day. If I'm LSU, why didn't people leave Notre Dame? Why? What? We just
Good point.
hired away this guy for $90 million,
Good point.
and they keep this class together that everyone stays. Everyone, what were they buying into? Because it obviously wasn't Kelly. And
It
so
was
that's
me and my family. Sorry.
All right,
My convenient accent.
I'm gonna have to take a small break. I'll be right back, and I'm not mixing a drink, but y'all go ahead, and we'll start with Raj. Discuss Penn State finishing 6th with James Franklin.
I mean, he's obviously a better coach than recruiter. You know, I'm not a Franklin fan. There was talk of him going to USC. I don't think, Vanderbilt is one thing that was a long time ago, but there, again, a lot of things at Vanderbilt, including rape allegations, that he handled terribly. They did pretty well this year, but not as well. It seems like every year they underachieve, and they're ranked very high. And again, kids love the dude, but I frankly don't think, he can coach all that great. And, a lot of kids in Pennsylvania and Ohio is also a good year in those regions as well. So we'll have to see. They're Penn State's, for me, it's often what are people known for, what are schools known for. When you think of Penn State, you think of sometimes receiver like Godwin and Dotson this year, tight end, and linebacker, and they did well in all those categories. So and defensive line, I'm not really sure if what's the point of that, but if I'm one of those kids, I definitely consider it. But good area, good region this year, and good recruiter.
Robbie, James
All right.
Franklin, I hate him. What's your opinion?
Okay, so this is a odd point to make, but I'm gonna do my best to make it. Cut out SEC history before Mark Stoops got to Kentucky. So forget Kentucky football before then. Kentucky at Mark Stoops is James Franklin at Penn State. They're going to be solid. They're going to be competitive. They're never going to win their division. They're never going to win the championship. They may get to some bowl games. They may look good at that, but they're going to recruit well. They're going to be competitive, but they're not good enough to get over the top. They're still not Georgia. They're still not Florida. They're still not. Maybe they are Tennessee, but Penn State's never going to be Ohio State. They're never going to be Michigan. They're battling with Michigan State. It's a tough division. And by the way, did y'all see the if you do the Big Ten recruiting rankings, just them, it's 1 through 7 East and then 8 through 14 West. The gap is huge. So Penn State is stuck in Kentucky land in football right now.
Jane, anything to follow up on Penn State before we hit the top 5?
I shouldn't say this on air, so no, I'm
Okay.
not going to.
Number 5.
I think we're already suspended for 5 days. We're at the holidays. Kick it for 10.
Yeah.
No, well, all right. So Penn State, coming from Sandusky and Joe Pa back in the day, and then this rape allegation in Vanderbilt, they apparently like to hire people that have no respect whatsoever for other people. So anyway, James Franklin
# reckless speculation.
James Franklin is nothing but a POS in my book. He's the worst human being. Like he is,
I have a
Go ahead.
photo of him shooting me a bird too. which I'm
Allegedly,
really proud
allegedly for all of that, allegedly reckless speculation, but well taken.
allegedly. It's all allegedly.
of.
Yes.
Number 5 is Texas. What can you say? More talent in the state than they could sign. Texas
Well,
finishes 5th. Good job by Stark.
And doesn't even count Quinn Ewers, who just transferred in the portal from Ohio State to Texas.
That $1 million spends more in Texas.
Hey, So this is a whole new chess match for these coaches. You've got to look at this situation now, and for high school, like
well, the coaches are learning on the fly too. Like, does this kid want the
Yeah.
money, or do they want to play football?
Exactly. And most of the kids, it's just like this is a prime situation. All right. All he had to do was opt out, take a school, whatever. Didn't matter what school he went to. He's not going to play anyway. Go sit a year, get his $1.5 million, transfer portal because it's easy. You can do it whenever you want to. And now he's going back to the real school that he didn't even recruit him, but now wants to recruit him. Or, whatever. And he's got, $2 million in the bank before he even stepped foot on college campus. So it's ridiculous. It's a whole new game. People better, coaches. I mean, that's why you've got to start stocking, scholarships for transfer portal guys, right?
Sorry, Randall. And this is, I just want to bring this up real quick. We don't need to talk about it, but just a thought to get you guys thinking about it. Does the NFL put a stop to this by saying there's no more 3-year sit-out rule?
How can they?
All they
This is a whole nother entity. So this has been going on for years. Now they're just actually showing paid players.
No, but sorry, we are talking about it. The only reason this is allowed is because the NFL has a rule. You have to be 3 years removed from high school. The NFL can lift that rule, and then they go straight to the NFL, subject to their salary cap, their rules, and their thing. So that's where I'm getting at. But sorry, Randall.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Unlike the NBA, an 18-year-old cannot play in the NFL.
No,
physically
as of yet.
Which we won't go down that route, but many believe that's
they
culturally
can.
biased. They claim it's because of the physicality and whatnot. But yeah, I don't want to go down that route. One important thing about Texas staying at number 5, I mean, they ton of kids, 27, but their little brother dominated, and they were still able to hold on. So that's pretty impressive. Sark is a very polarizing figure, a very crappy year. To keep all those dudes, that's impressive.
All right, well, we got to get to it. Sooner or later, Brandon Chain at number 4. Somebody dot the I. I'll give you the start. OH.
I-O.
There you go. Your Ohio State Buckeyes finished 4th. Happy, sad, indifferent.
I'm happy with it. I mean, I think it's fine. You're recruiting against, Bama, Georgia, Texas A&M for some reason, which is weird. But
It is weird.
yeah, it's so strange. They're up there. That might be my biggest surprise. I retract my previous statement. No, I'm happy. It's average. I mean, we're, top 8, top 10 annually. But again, like I said earlier, it's not necessarily about the 5-star and 4-star. The 3 stars are kind of the meat of the class, and so I'm happy with it.
There were 2 5-stars in Ohio, CJ Hicks and Sonny Styles.
Yeah,
Those guys were easy Ohio State commits. Pretty quality class. Devon Brown, the quarterback from Corner Canyon in Utah. He followed up Jackson Dart, the USC quarterback. He was going to USC, but after Lincoln Riley went to USC, a number of players transferred from next year, transferred their commitment, not literally transferred, including Malachi Nelson, who's the number 1 quarterback recruit next year, number 2 player overall. Oh, number 2 quarterback recruit, because Arch Manning is number 1 but Malachi and his receiver, I can't remember his name right now, both from Los Alamitos High School. So Devon Brown was a great get for them. I'm not sure where their quarterback is at, their situation, again, with Ewers leaving. Who is their starting quarterback next year? I'm sure he's good. I mean, it is Ohio State.
Yeah, it's C.J. Stroud's going to be starter next year.
Oh, yeah, he was a freshman.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, he's a freshman. So Ewers coming in this year, kind of screwed up the, stacking chain that Day does. play 2 years. You know, you get there, you sit a year, then you play, and all that. So yeah, whatever. But no, Sonny Styles, big safety. Love his recruit. I think he's out of high school early as well. If I don't know. I remember reading something about one of the guys being in LI out of high school early. You guys laughing at me? I'm trying here.
Nah, you let a word slip. It sounded like that's what we were laughing at.
Okay. So, but no, I'm happy with the recruit overall. And yeah, in LI, who knows what's going on right now with that.
Oh,
So let's start with the next group of three together because it's hard to break them up. But I think it's shocking that Georgia finishes third, Robbie. I mean, it's been Alabama, Georgia, 1-2 for the last 5 years. How did Texas A&M jump in there? And Georgia's still Georgia, still in the playoffs, and still low up.
yeah. So this is Jimbo's assault on Kirby, I think. Saban's not going to coach forever, and so I think Jimbo's going right after Kirby and being like, what's the future? What future's brighter? Is it? And don't take away this instant credibility of we just beat Alabama. They can't beat Alabama. And you're selling those two things because that's what you're selling is don't go to Alabama, come to one of these two places. So A&M's hot right now, even though Georgia's in the playoffs. Georgia may win the championship, but yet Jimbo's out recruiting Kirby. And to back up to Ohio State, if I'm Ohio State, I'm loving the position I'm in. I'm recruiting the best in the entire country in the least, not the least desirable, but the worst desirable, the top 10 footprints. So I'm killing it. I've got talent. I play in cold weather. And look, Alabama, A&M, Georgia, they can't all make the playoff. I got the talent to go there each and every year, so I'm happy.
Good point.
It's not that cold. Come on.
Hey, real quick on Georgia. They're known for that big red imposing defense. Who got the most 5 stars in the country? It was Georgia. For some reason, Michael Williams, a defensive lineman, was committed to USC under Helton. We didn't know why. He's from Georgia. But getting him and Marvin Jones, who Marvin Jones was strongly considering SC, 2 defensive linemen, was huge. They're known for defense. Their quarterback's not great, but their top 7 recruits were all defenders. I think they have a quarterback transfer coming in. I sure as hell hope so, because I wouldn't want to be, it's a waste of a lot of talent with their current quarterback situation.
Good point. Guys, what do you say about Alabama being number 2? Bama's Bama. Every year. Saban is truly the guy that picks his recruits.
Yeah, next.
I think Saban, it's just one question for all of you. Is Saban, can he truly go into any state and take the top player out of that state?
Yeah, I mean,
why not?
He's
90% chance he can. Yeah.
He's whatever it is, he's figured out the cheat code to this game. It was like the early college football games on NCAA. There was one play that they couldn't stop, and you figure that out. You run it over and over again. That seems to be what Saban's done. He's just, the guy's 70 years old, and does he even know how to text message? And still just. I guess the selling point is, hey, you got to be here for 3 years, chill for 2, play for 1, boom, first round draft pick.
Yeah, I'll get you in the NFL if you sit for 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to go to NFL if you go to Bama. And I think that, they had the number 1 support staff in terms of size and quality. I really think that they, those dudes are the ones doing most of the legwork. And then, Mr. President comes in and sits in your living room on your couch, an extremely imposing figure, and says, we want you. I definitely think the aura of Nick Saban plays into this. It really does. Because, Bama's become this is the biggest dynasty in the history of college football, in my opinion. And if you want to go pro, go there.
All right, been a long run on this. We still got a couple more subjects to get through. We have.
I was going to say,
Bush. We talked about it. Texas A&M, the number one team in recruiting, takes the number one player out of Tennessee, number one player out of Florida, all over the place, signs kids. I want to read you. This is most impressive to me. Their top, let's go 10 recruits. Tennessee, Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Texas, Missouri, Georgia, Louisiana. A couple more Texas threw in there. They went outside Texas A&M or outside the footprint of Texas to get this done. Is Texas A&M a national brand now? Raj?
Ooh. Well, I think so. And the point I was making earlier about some schools being known for certain positions, for A&M, it's defensive line. They are right now. And they can go anywhere for that. In fact, of their top 5 recruits, 4 of them are not only on defense, they're on the defensive line, which is insane. Obviously, as you mentioned, they got kids from all over the country. I don't really get the appeal of Jimbo personally, but obviously it's working.
Robbie, final comments on Texas A&M.
Well, you got to remember where Jimbo's coached. He coached at LSU, so he's got high school connections there. He coached at Florida State. He's got high school connections there, and Texas. And so you take those 3 states alone, and if you can jump into Georgia, like that, he's got a arsenal of high school connections that can load up a team quickly.
Good point.
Shane, any comments from you? Good point, Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, other than Kentucky, I mean, this is a big surprise to me as well. I mean, 4 5-star commits, 19 4-star commits. I mean, it's insane what they're doing there. So, like these guys said, it's kind of a destination place as well. So I think they're going to be fine, especially Jimbo is at the helm.
Well, and Randall, real quick, and I just noticed this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. This year there seemed to be a abnormally large amount of talent coming out of Tennessee, going elsewhere. Hopefully, Heupel can secure those borders as it comes through and get the talent to stay in Tennessee.
This was
he's proven it. I think he needed to prove himself, and 1 year with all the guys they lost.
One little quick thing about
going to be strong.
One little quick thing about college recruiting. All right, it's almost like fishing, right? So you're driving down the middle of the channel and you're throwing towards the bank. You're throwing towards the bank the whole time, and then you got all these guys on the bank throwing towards the middle of the channel, Like, what is going on here? Like, can you not keep it in house? Like, what is this? Like, this does not make sense to me. Why are people throwing on the bank when you can just drop your pole straight down and catch somebody right here? Like, why is everyone outside recruiting when you can just get the people in your state that are 5 stars to your school? What the hell's going on? I don't know.
After my breakdown for recruiting and during the draft,
drives me
that was
crazy.
The second best moment of this show. That analogy.
It drives me crazy.
Come
on.
Rude fisherman.
Drop your pole, banks, fishing.
Just drop it right below.
Drop it right there. Drop your pole anywhere.
I think
you're not a fisherman, Rob.
This was a stellar year
I'm
in the
not.
state of Tennessee. A stellar year. A year that we had talked about in the high school football ranges and in the circles I run, maybe the best talent in the state of Tennessee ever this year. And Tennessee signs one of the top 20 players in the state. And you've got to think that's some of the roads that Jeremy.
Yeah,
Pruitt
that's
burned.
not Heupel's fault. That's
Yeah.
just that's broken bridges.
Quickly before we move on to NFL playoff pitcher, gut reaction: Dan Lanning to Oregon. Rod.
Everybody wants a young, aggressive coach to come on in. Oregon's usually known for offense, but Lanning was just a guy they couldn't pass up. He's 35 years old. He's considered one of the best recruiters in the country. After getting Thibodeau and Sewell and a guy that SC really wanted, who's a monster, Justin Flo, you're adding a guy that they're not taking a step back. I think he's also young and flashy, which coincides with the brand at Oregon. So I thought it was a great hire. He was the number one overall wanted coordinator when it comes to, that trend for young Sean Payton, not anymore, but I'm blanking on the Rams coach, but what?
Sean McVay.
Thank you, McVay. It's very Oregon-esque, and I think that was a great hire.
You showed up in the early when we went through our show notes at 8:45. We talked about Sean McVay. You'd know that.
I would have forgotten.
All right, Robbie, Dan Lanning. I'm going to give mine. I hate the hire. I don't think he's ready. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he goes out there and wins big. But you take a guy whose career is kind of been built at Athens, Georgia, and you paid him in Eugene, Oregon. Let's hope he's a relationship builder because he's going to need it. At 35 years old, scares me. No head coaching experience scares me. But you're right. His name was everywhere. So he was going to get a job. Robbie, your thoughts?
I mean, it seems like they did the checklist, right? Did he work for Saban? Yes. Did he work for Kirby? Yes. Is he a good recruiter? Yes. Oregon's done this road before. Kelly was a coordinator. Helfrich was a coordinator. While Helfrich got fired, he went to the national championship game. Cristobal was a coordinator. You give charismatic people those resources at Oregon, it's hard not to be successful. They've got the goods, man. Like, if it's not SC and you're on the West Coast, then it's Oregon. And or vice versa. It's not Oregon, then it's SC. Like, those are the programs. And so, yeah, as long as that swoosh is backing you, I think it's a good hire. Hopefully he took the process and the process junior, and here we go.
All right, Shane, anything from you on the hire?
So is this smoke or fire? Like, are we looking at just because Georgia had the best defense this year? Like, is this smoke or fire? I don't know. It's hard to say. Pretty big contract though. I mean, 4.6 a year and 35 years old, unproven. I mean, God, where was this, 10 years ago when I should have became a college coach.
You do look like McVay. Doesn't he look like McVay?
Yeah, I will admit I did not know who the Georgia defensive coordinator was until he was hired at Oregon.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Smoke or fire? Like, what have they really done? So Georgia's record? Like, this is what it's all coming down to, right? Like, what have they done defensively? Yeah, looks okay on paper. I don't know. I don't know if he's the right guy for the job. We'll see. Oregon is, no offense, Raj, a little easier probably to navigate through than than
Uncle
staying.
Phil, Nike U.
Yeah.
No, they've been doing well. Interesting though, with Georgia, a lot of the coordinators get hired. They've named co-defensive coordinators, one of whom is Will Muschamp. The other Schulman, I think that's his name. So that'll be interesting. If Georgia's defense is number one again with all those kids going there, does Will Muschamp get hired again? Because his reputation was not exactly stellar in the SEC.
So let me tell you what we've learned off of this show. we've learned next year during National Signing Day, we'll do an hour and a half special because we booked a whole show and we just now finished National Signing Day and we're out of time. But I have one more topic I feel we must get through, and I think it's huge. Right now, and it's not really about the playoffs, but New England is the number one seed in the AFC, followed by
The
Titans
Titans.
at 8-4, the Ravens at 8-4, the Chiefs at 8-4, the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Buffalo Bills would all qualify for the playoffs. Just outside is the Colts we left for dead, and Rogers, Vegas Raiders.
Stop. They're
Indeed.
done.
In the
The Colts are in the playoffs.
no, by this they're outside looking in.
Wild card.
Yeah,
No, we got 7 teams now.
Yeah,
They're in.
the Colts are
the
in.
17 would be
They're
the
the
Buffalo
sixth.
Bill.
The
7
Colts
and
are the
6.
6th seed.
The
Yeah, they're the 6th seed because
Cincinnati
Buffalo's been
Bengals are the
tanking.
6th seed. Let me
No.
my article.
One,
Wrong.
2, 3.
What are you
Go to
looking at?
ESPN.com.
December
ESPN
the
ranks
9th.
them according to the tiebreakers. Cincinnati 9, Cleveland current. They're all
Yeah.
7 and
Oh, hush,
6.
let me get on the
Colts
right
are
line.
6 seed.
It doesn't
7 and
matter.
Buffalo,
6.
Colts, Chargers,
you're right.
Ravens,
You're right.
Chiefs.
So then
Of course,
What are you looking at?
yeah.
AOL.com?
ESPN,
where's your article from? The Sporting News?
AOL.
December the 9th. Green Bay is the leader in the NFC, followed by Tampa. Arizona, it falls from first to third based on their loss. The Cowboys,
Did you say you were looking at an article from December the 9th?
yes. The Rams,
Do you know
You
how
know-
to work the internet?
the 49ers,
You know, today is the 15th.
and the Redskins. It was the one that popped up. I'm sorry. I was fishing right here by my boat.
If you were
No.
on 15 minutes beforehand during the show notes, we
know
would have
that.
taught you how to use the internet.
Yep. So, going through, handicap the AFC, NFC in your opinion, Raj.
In terms of my favorites,
Yes.
I mean, the Chiefs are back. Their defense has, I think, allowed 9 points the last few games.
Now, hold on.
And-
Is this the Chiefs of December the 9th or December the 15th?
I think both. They
Okay.
won
Go ahead.
last weekend, and you know
Like,
what
what
was
date's this show on?
yeah.
They're also
So-
9-4.
Sunday was the 12th. So since Sunday, we had a game and they did very well. I think the Chiefs are back. They are my number one seed overall, meaning that I think they're going to the Super Bowl. Arizona looks like they're coming back to earth. Maybe people are figuring them out. DeAndre Hopkins is done for the year. He may come back in the playoffs, but he's not the same guy, clearly. Green Bay, I don't think, has it defensively. So I think we're going to see Tampa and the Chiefs, and, not very inventive, but I think that's what's going to happen.
Robbie, as of the 15th, not tonight, please handicap the NFC and AFC.
Let me go big picture. Whenever the NFL went to 7 teams in the playoffs, I thought I was going to hate it. Man, I've grown to love it so quickly. Everyone's still in it, and so
As you will.
Hold on. Were you not the guy that just killed 16 playoff spots in college football?
No, I was going to say just 8. As
Just-
8 playoff teams
Yeah, he was.
in college
Yeah.
football.
He
Now
was
you want
last week.
bigger, more. Let's gamble on more. Let's go.
Okay, go ahead.
These kids are getting paid. Um,
13 teams in the AFC are 6 and 7 or
So-
better.
so are the
13
college-
teams
So
are
the
involved
college kids.
in the playoffs.
College
Don't make me
13
do it again,
people.
Brandon. Don't make me get suspended again.
I like getting you riled up a little bit.
But yeah, no. So I love the 17. Everyone's still in it. AFC, yeah, I agree with Raj. Kansas City's kind of setting themselves apart, but man, New England's got an easy road, but New England, I think they get a good playoff spot, but rookie quarterbacks, I don't care how good Bill Belichick is. Rookie quarterbacks, things speed up in the postseason. So I don't trust Mac Jones yet. I think he'll get there, but not yet. Titans, man, it's still in the 2nd seed, but just we don't have any players. And
NFL record for the most people on a roster, Titans 2021.
Yeah.
yeah.
And counting.
And so yeah, I think the Chiefs are my 1A team. I'm not giving up on the Chargers, though. I picked them in the preseason. I still think they've got the talent to get hot. NFC, man, that's as wide open as it gets. Green Bay, you got Tampa, you got Arizona. I think the Rams are still dangerous. Those 4 teams, give me them any day of the week. I'll flip a coin on them. My thing though, if I'm a playoff team, or especially as it gets closer to playoffs, I seriously think about going back to virtual and saying, because hey, I don't know what the NFL is going to do, but they're saying the show's going to go on. You can't risk a quarterback getting COVID or getting infection. So I'm saying, hey, we're in shape. Train on your own. Stay away from the building. We're going to have availability because it may be the best ability.
To Robbie's point, and Shane, I'll come to you. The only team eliminated in the NFC is the Lions. And right now, the woeful Atlanta Falcons has better than a double-digit chance, 10% chance of making the playoffs. I don't get it, but I mean,
11 teams in the NFC are 6
Yeah.
and 7 or better. The 11 teams fan bases have hope. That number is 13 in the AFC.
isn't
Yeah,
that number,
the Falcons.
Isn't that number like 11 in our fantasy league even? So, change.
So everyone would have hope.
Yeah.
No,
Brandon
it's
and I actually
Yeah.
don't have any hope. We're at 0.
so
Okay.
uh
That's impressive for Atlanta.
no chance that the Bucs are not there right now. Like
Ooh.
Tom Brady is, I mean, he's leading the league in passing. I mean, what is he, 43, 44? He's killing it. Like, this guy is the most cerebral quarterback, along with the talent to match, that I've ever seen. He's a GOAT. He's not going anywhere. So I've got the Bucs by far over Packers. Rodgers and his, immunization can go on somewhere else. And I'm going to man, it's going to be tough between the Pats, the Titans, and Chiefs. Ravens, I don't think will get there. Chargers, I don't think will get there. Colts, they're overplayed.
What makes you think the Titans will get there after the biggest loss of the year, no doubt, meaning Derrick Henry?
Well, one, because I'm a Titans fan.
I knew that
Two,
Good
I
point.
knew that one.
yeah. So, hey, no bad publicity is, whatever that saying is.
Well, you
So,
mentioned
anyway.
your
You
phone.
told
Did
me
you tell
once.
everyone you were in a golf tournament today?
No,
I
listen.
hope you mentioned that.
I didn't. So
Explains a lot.
if Henry comes back, that's the only reason that we're up there. If he doesn't, no chance.
Fair.
But I really do think that the Patriots are in prime position right now. I mean, Belichick versus Brady, who doesn't want to see that?
My
Tough to win in New England in January, man. That's to your
My
point.
point
I agree
exactly.
with Rob on the
But
QB.
he's the greatest coach. Like, and Mac Jones, what he's doing, I mean, I think it's pretty damn good right now.
So would it be the highest rated game in NFL history, the Pats versus the Bucs? I mean, I'm intrigued by this. Am I the only one?
I mean,
that's the Super Bowl.
They already
I
played
want.
each other, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's hard to say, highest game in history, but
The lead up would make me barf. All the talk and publicity. It was already gross earlier. So I really hope that doesn't happen because I can't freaking take it. Yeah, they played earlier in the year and it was an ugly game. It was 19-17. So please, God, please don't let that happen because 2 weeks of this crap will make me jump off my roof.
Yeah, so I agree. Like I think the lead up shows will be highly rated than they'll be because people want, like, people that care about those things want their opinions and like they want to hear people. But I mean, if you don't watch the Super Bowl, then do you even know who Brady and Belichick is? And do you even care? I mean, probably know who Tom Brady is because of Giselle, but like, you don't care about, like, I don't know if you bring any, I don't know if there's any storyline that brings more people into the NFL or into the Super Bowl, I should say. Because I mean, everyone watches the Super Bowl. Like, if you don't, you just don't know. Like, you're in that own weirdo world.
Who's Giselle?
Weirdo world.
Yeah, yeah. All right, guys.
That
So we're running late, but we right now. First of all, we got to ask everybody do 3 things for us: like, share, follow us on iTunes, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook. That's where we're at. Please just follow us. We need following. In 2022, we have some huge goals, and we need you to start like, smash, follow. We get 1,000 viewers, and some weeks we'll have 400 or 500 on YouTube, and we got 23 followers. So you're out there watching, hit the subscribe button so we can get some credit for it.
The least you can
and
do.
we're all really old. You can tell by the Facebook and whatnot. Each of us will give $100 to any kid that can do a good job putting us on TikTok and all that jazz, because and whatever else is there, Twitch and whatever. So $100 each. That's 400. Who wants it? We'll take your submissions.
Yeah. You can put this on. You can put an 1.5-hour video on TikTok.
No, but you can.
But you can advertise.
You can make a 30-second video.
Special clips.
You can influence.
Super old, not a touch here. Super old, not a touch.
Influence.
Great show tonight. We will. Right now, we will not have a show next Wednesday. Tentatively, we will do some pop-up specials next week, and we'll talk about that later amongst ourselves. But we might pop on here Wednesday for a while. I don't know if we'll have a full hour and a half. We might start at 9:15 and get to 9:45, just have Barrage on. But we also may just pop on and just have a little pop-up session here and there. So,
hey, if Memphis beats Tennessee on Saturday, I'll come on for a full meltdown mode on my reactions to the Tennessee-Memphis basketball game. I'll be there in Nashville, so I will come. If Memphis should not beat Tennessee.
Played pretty well against Randall's favorite team, the team that I said relies too much on shooting. They came back. They actually throttled Alabama.
Yeah, they did. They killed them.
They looked very good.
Tennessee has Memphis Saturday, Arizona Wednesday, and then Alabama Saturday. Big week for the Vols.
And
luckily, Memphis usually doesn't play defense.
We may jump on. I'm off next week. We may jump on any night, so just be prepared. But we have a business meeting, and this is for you all out there. We have a business meeting with some associates. We need you to like and smash. That's the thing that keeps stopping us. We need you to like us, share us, get us out there. But here is my favorite part of the show. 9-1. I'm not really sure I'm 9-1, but I'm telling everybody I am.
You said 8-1 earlier.
8-1. 8-1. I'm on December the 9th. I'm sorry, I was 9-1 on December the 9th. 8-1 on your upset alert. So going around the room, we got to put some people on upset alert and get them squared away. Brandon Chain, you already put somebody on upset alert. How did that turn out for you?
I'm trying to look it up right now. This was earlier today. NBA, it was Mavs over Lakers. Not sure how that ended up. I'll have to look it up real quick.
Austin Reeves, the white guy from Oklahoma, hit a 3 at the buzzer in OT to give the Lakers a 107-104 win.
Okay, so I would have lost that one.
Yeah, so what are you talking now, Brendan James?
December 9th, you would have won it.
Yeah, so
I'm not living that one down.
My upset alert, I'm going to say Oklahoma State over Notre Dame in the bowl games. That's my upset alert. Right now, Notre Dame's -2. Notre Dame is Notre Dame. Oklahoma State's been playing great. I know they just lost their D coordinator to the Ohio State, so that's okay. Still got Oklahoma State, Notre Dame.
Speaking of, you cheap bastard, get on ESPN, sign on to our bowl pick'em, and let's gamble.
Robbie, what would be your upset of the week?
So I thought about this quite a bit. I'm going a division game, a high spread for you kids to maximize your profits. It is a team that always plays the other team tough, beat them twice in the regular season last year. I'm going New Orleans plus 11 at Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay stumbles this week and then runs the table.
Wow. That's your bet your nuts?
That's my upset alert.
Okay. Rod, who are you putting on upset alert?
Saw a lot of people liking the Seahawks. I'm not there. Because half the Browns team is dead. The Raiders are 1.5 point favorites in Cleveland. I don't care. The Browns will find a way to win. The Raiders always find a way to lose. I'll take the Browns over the Raiders at plus 1.5 because, I could play quarterback at this point and we'd beat the Raiders.
Marcus Mariota time.
I know, dude. That's what we're begging for.
Second chance.
Jacobs and Carr both need to sit.
All right. I'm going to the NFL for my upset alert. And I am choosing a game which I will be the only person that probably even watches. I am putting the Jacksonville Jaguars on upset alert, laying 3.5 to the Houston Texans. I think the Texans money line the Jaguars this weekend. I also love the fact that I think it goes over 39.5. So
if you watch that game, you should cheat yourself.
I'm not going to watch it. It's on the same time the Falcons are, but that's my upset alert. I'll go first on your bet. You're nuts.
You know what, Randall? We could come on here next week and you could say you won, and no one would even know what the score of that game was.
No one would even know what teams you're talking about.
And nobody cares. Nobody rallies the troop like Urban.
Hey, we could get as big as PTI, and no one will know what the fucking score of the Jaguars and Texans game was.
It wasn't me for once.
It's always Robbie. The
Wasn't
only reason we're suspended is because of Robbie in his comments.
So I'll start with my bet. You're nuts. I'm going to stay in the NFL, and I'm going to go do a Saturday special, and everybody's going to care about this game. I'm going to go money line. The New England Patriots beat the Indianapolis Colts at home. Money line Patriots over the Colts. That is my bet.
Money line.
Raj Mehta?
First of all, what do we set the over? Randall just recently said Jaguars. Versus Jaguars. Let's set the over under next week at 4 in terms of words that Randall pronounces weird. There was another few earlier. He is our noble host, and he does an amazing job, but some of the pronunciations are pretty weird, and I love it. Maybe it's just because he's from like the 60s
early on time, and I'll give you credit.
Maybe he's from the 40s. But yeah, my guarantee bet you're nuts is tomorrow Duke minus 21 against woeful Appalachian State. It's not football. Full exposure, full admission. I something's wrong with my brain tonight.
Disclosure.
I don't really. Thank you. Full disclosure. Jesus, what's wrong with me?
You've been hanging out.
College football lines are usually given out the day of, and my betting apps are all on my phone. So this is one of the few lines I can see, but I was going to take it anyways. Duke minus 21, Appalachian State tomorrow. ESPN
you know what?
2.
You hang out with me long enough, you'll be eating pork rinds and saying words funny. Watch yourself.
The irony is, I think I just mispronounced Appalachian, or is it Appalachian?
Appalachian.
The guy that's been at the golf course since early this morning, Brendan James.
My upset, bet you nuts. Well, it's not really upset. Bet you nuts is Ohio State beats Kentucky in basketball on Saturday. Let's go.
Is that a game in Columbus or in Lexington?
I think it's in Lexington, actually.
Or is it a
Yeah, it's in Lexington.
Also,
Wow,
I'm
going
gonna
there.
Bet your
That's
nuts
impressive.
before Robbie goes.
But that's my bet your nuts. Let's go.
115.
Nah, man, it's in Vegas. It's one of those showcases, the Ohio State Kentucky game.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah, erroneous.
We're going to the little box school of people that can't
Pay
read.
this man his money.
But yes, exactly. So is UCLA, North Carolina.
Was your schedule on December the 9th or the 13th?
Right.
Neither. That's the 18th.
Yeah, it's the 18th.
Robbie Davis,
13th was Monday.
I look like I'm drunk and I've just been awake for 24 hours. Robbie Davis, take us out with some sanity.
So I like to give the people the money quickest. So I'm taking tomorrow night's game. It is Kansas City at the Los Angeles Chargers. Over 52. I like it. High scoring affair of two good quarterbacks. A lot of talent all around. I'll take the over. Even though I hate the short weeks, but these teams know each other. Two good coaches, two great offenses. I'll take the over 52.
Nice.
Any chance Santa finds anybody on this show on the nice list?
No.
Any opportunity for any of us to make the nice list? No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Maybe you.
Hey,
well,
You're our best hope.
Hey, my Santa wish is to slip by the FCC.
hey, I think we did. Tonight. I haven't had anything pop up
Mine is to catch some sweet trout by dropping my pole.
right next
Hey.
to the boat.
Next to the boat.
Being reckless.
That's where all the fish are at.
Yeah,
Next to the boat.
Stay away from the bank. Stay away from the bank, you
Stop
dumbass.
casting to the bank. Stay within your lane, bro.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You want to twist up lines and lures and get
Just
line.
drop it by the boat.
I don't
Hey,
get it.
Where the biggest fish are.
I've been on a 4-hour float once. My first cast, I tangled up the whole line. I spent the whole 3 hours and 58 minutes untangling my line.
Why the
Fishing
hell are
humor.
people on the bank casting towards the boats? I don't know.
I'll try to steal my
Dang.
fish.
On that note,
Good night. God bless. And
Hey.
we'll be back.
classic.
Hey, wait, do we have final words?
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
That was.
I forgot. I'm already asleep. So Robbie Davis, good catch. Let's start final words with Brandon Chang because I have a feeling it's going to take him a minute. Go ahead, Brandon.
I'm already done. My final words were about fishing. So you two go ahead.
Final words. EJ Liddell, thank you. You're so great this year, and you're going to beat Kentucky. It's going to be great.
Robbie, please make something make sense for us.
I'll do my best. I'm just, I appreciate the effort that Randall gives on a day in, day out basis. I just wish he took a little more time to focus. And if you're going to flip us back in time, flip us back to 2019, and we could go to events. Don't flip us back a week. Just put some effort into it. Flip us all the way back to back. We could do things. We could be in person. Just
Buy
do
some
that,
good
Randall.
stock.
Come on, show a little effort.
Yeah. By Tesla.
Yeah.
Come on, buddy.
I swear, I was looking at that and I was going, these dudes are idiots. And I looked at the date and it said December the 9th. And I was like, okay.
Why are you looking at an article in the first place? You can see the standings on any freaking sports site. You're like,
Yeah,
oh, the article I read from the.
Are you looking at the USA Today?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The USA Today.
Newspaper.
Did somebody slip it under your door this morning?
I wish. All right, for Randall Cunningham, for Brandon Jay, for Rod Mehta, for the great Robbie Davis, for all of our fans out there. We've had a bunch of people watching tonight, by the way. I mean, bunches of people. Less than
That's 'cause we're-
insanity.
Wasted and hilarious, and I was late, so I think that's all for good ratings.
Good
And
night.
I was sober
Have
tonight.
you seen this guy with the wrong newspaper?